Welcome back to the third and final part of the Air Coupe.
I'm only slightly scared, so I think I'm good.
Yeah, only slightly. Feel like at least I'm not going to die alone.
No, right?
You know?
Thunderbird holding hands as we go off the cliff.
Okay, Susan.
Right.
Well, playing with the Air Coupe again today. I got a chance to fly from the right seat the other day, riding up there with Daniel. We put some other people in it just randomly. They're more experienced pilots than I am, so even though they had their concerns and their worries and their fears and their curiosities, they got in there by themselves and flew it solo without incident. I don't know if I'm that confident to just get in there by myself, so I'm going to go back up in the circuit, fly it around a little bit with Daniel, and I'm feeling good, feeling confident. He'll turn it over to me, and I'll do a little solo flying in it. This is a pretty cool thing because my grandfather actually flew Air Coupes back in the 60s, and he always used to talk about them. So, you know, it's kind of a neat little bit of personal family history, so it'll be a cool experience if we get to solo the Air Coupe today, so let's see what happens. I was gonna say I want to get my feet back, but my feet are irrelevant in this airplane.
Right, exactly.
So it's all gonna be hands.
What do you do when you take away the pedals? I don't know what to do with my feet.
Automated weather observation 1927 Zulu.
This is so
Wind
stupid.
220 at 11 knots. Visibility
I feel
more
like-
than 10.
I feel like a foreigner on his
Condition.
driver's test for the first time. No, just keep it on the road. Keep it on the road. 10 to 2. 10
What
to
do you
2.
mean I'm supposed to stay on the right side of the road? I want to be on the left side of the road.
In this case, we're middle of the road.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. The wind's a lot calmer than the other day.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see, like, okay, how does this really handle?
In some of my reading about the airplane, you know, my light reading over it all, it turns out what they say is that the CAA, the predecessor to the FAA, actually came out with a different license or pilot certificate for folks learning how to fly in these airplanes.
Hey guys, on the subject of reading, I'd like to revisit Wolfgang Langewiesche's Stick and Rudder. Wolfgang was already sort of covering the characteristics and pitfalls, or possible pitfalls, of flying the Air Coupe, or what he calls the modern safety airplane or rudderless safety airplane. He kind of uses both of those interchangeably. On the stable tricycle landing gear, the airplane can afford to touch while crabbing. The resulting sideswiping sort of ground contact will simply give the landing gear a chance to show its stability. He's almost saying trust it. It's hard to unlearn what your feet have been taught. Close to the ground, the airplane is really goofy, and your feet are instinctively trying to do something to make these fine-tune adjustments, and you're just not able to. Wolfgang goes on in another section that's titled How the Foolproof Airplane Fools You. Yet, it is a fact that experienced pilots have got into trouble on crosswind landings with rudderless tricycle airplanes. Characteristically, the experienced pilot will sometimes have trouble, while the complete novice lands such an airplane successfully and perhaps doesn't even realize that he's landing crosswind with a lot of drift. That's basically it right there. What he's saying is, you know, again, it's hard for your feet to unlearn what they've been taught. If you've learned a certain way with rudder pedals, it's very hard. It's a mental hurdle for you to get over to be able to confidently fly the Air Coupe. Whereas somebody who might have just stepped in this airplane for the very first time, they wouldn't notice. You know, what you don't know, you don't know. With respect to that, I think it's important for us to clarify that we love the Air Coupe. Air Coupes are really cool. Pilots who fly Air Coupes are really cool. Any fun we're having at the expense of the Air Coupe in these episodes is purely out of jest. We're having fun, we're learning, we're having a discussion. We're trying to give you guys a very real, accurate portrayal of how we sort of all interact with each other and how we approach these things. I mean, obviously, safety is the primary concern, but we do have a lot of fun, and you know, at times poke fun at the aircraft itself. But just want to clarify, the Air Coupe is awesome, and people who fly Air Coupes are awesome. I've personally had a fascination with the airplane since I was a little kid, so we approach these episodes with love and curiosity, and hopefully what's come out of it is something that is fun and educational, and something that starts a conversation. If you fly Air Coupes, if you've been flying them for a long time, or maybe you just recently transitioned into one, we definitely want to hear from you. Have you had a similar experience to the ones that we've been having, or do you have a completely different perspective? Totally open to that either way. So anyway, back to the episode.
this was the only airplane you flew, this would be normal.
Yeah, you wouldn't really know the difference. I mean, you know, everything else, it kind of feels somewhere between a Grumman AA-1B or like a Cessna 150. I'm just gonna do a quick check around here. Just steer us in a circle, basically, which is hilarious. Taking a look around the patterns, goes around. I think we're fairly empty right now. Orient is looking at final here. Alright, cool. So, holding the brakes. Kind of doing like a box check with this is interesting because it's like you can't really move the aileron separate from your nose wheel, so there's a lot of pressure.
I think I'd make my standard to do is as I'm taxiing it, I'm actually going to turn it and try to look around and see, make sure the ailerons work in the right direction, the rudder works in the correct direction.
We more or less did, and then doing a turn in one direction. But yeah, that's definitely one thing to look out for. Is, you know, you want to make sure things are free and correct. Of course, we're not moving a rudder around.
Which wouldn't be any different than in a Piper Cherokee or something like that, where you can't move the rudder on the ground, but
exactly.
you at least, you know,
at least feel like, hey, does this feel right? Does it not feel right?
We'll go ahead and bring it up to 1700 RPM, do a mic check. We've got good oil temperature and good pressure.
Make sure it's going to go full rich. Bring it up to 17. Alright, first mag check. Left. Light drop. Back to bulk. To the right. Slight drop, but within limits. Back to bulk, looking good. Car feed. Getting a slight drop. Pull it back to idle. The vernier throttle. Yeah, it's got a little button on it.
Yeah, so that unlocks it. You can push forward or out. Or fine tune. Throttle advance, goes clockwise, throttle retard comes down.
Which I was playing with. I mean, it was an interesting thing being in the right seat thing the other day, and then like, different throttle, no rudder pedals. It's like, okay,
how many more things can I make myself uncomfortable with?
Let me like rub my belly and pat my head, or rub my head, pat my belly kind of thing. Alright, I'm feeling good.
I'm only slightly scared, so I think I'm good.
Yeah, only slightly. Cable traffic, Air Coupe number 5663 Foxtrot is taking runway 24. We're going to stay in the circuit. Cable traffic. All right. Good. There's 24, 24, and 24. Full power. There's full rich. Going to hold that in there. Right. You were on, yeah.
You were on 45. It makes me so uncomfortable when it tacks into the wind and I've reached down to put my foot on the pedal and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to get used to it. I just don't know when.
Right. Hey, cable traffic, black and white, Air Coupe, upwind 24, cable traffic.
As is usually the case, once we got airborne, the wind shifted. We were also dealing with downdrafts and the airplane just didn't want to climb like it did previously.
Hey, cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, left crosswind 24, cable traffic. This thing is ridiculous. Cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, left downwind 24, cable traffic.
It's ridiculous how uncomfortable this airplane makes me.
With task saturation mounting and the airplane still being new to me, I found that it's very easy to get yourself low in the airplane.
We are low. Yeah, I'm gonna put in some power.
Rather than salvage an unstable approach, I opted for a go-around.
Yeah, let's make this a go-around.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe is going around.
Yeah, so I was going to say, like, it's ridiculous how uncomfortable I am in this airplane. Most airplanes, if I'm uncomfortable the first time I fly it, and I always feel like the first time I fly an airplane is always a little bit, it's always going to be uncomfortable. You're just not going to be as sharp as you would be after having a little experience in the airplane. This airplane, every time, you know, now this is like the 4th time I've been in the airplane, I go, nah, I don't know.
Though I didn't want to let it on, it appeared that Daniel was already feeling what I was feeling.
One of my friends got an airplane, I asked him how it was. He was like, Daniel, you're going to love it. It flies like crap. You're going to absolutely love this airplane.
And cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, turning left downwind. Cable traffic.
Right?
I was determined to work through the discomfort and try to learn and acclimate myself to the airplane.
And cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, turning left base 24, cable traffic.
It's real easy to get low in this airplane. Yeah. The wing on it isn't super efficient. Sorry, it's hard for me to turn off that flight instructor part of my brain.
No. Keep that part of your brain on. That would be just fine. Cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, turning final. 24, cable traffic.
This time around, I overcompensated and came in a little higher and a little faster. You can definitely see the nose swinging as I try to fight the gusts and stay on centerline without rudder.
Now we're a little fast. Go ahead and come back on power. Bring that nose up a little bit. Power back. You got it. We've got the runway made. Power all the way back if you would.
And the traffic,
Bring that nose up a little bit more. We'll slow her down. Repeat's coming off for go around if we need it. Yeah, we're definitely hot, but notice how that nose is kicked over to the side, but we're tracking down the runway. Let's go around. Look at that nose swing on that, too. Yeah. The nose just wanted to swing off to the left. No kidding.
Cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, going around. Cable traffic.
I don't know what's been up with the weather lately, but it's been, you couldn't buy a good smooth day around here.
Cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, left crosswind 24, cable traffic. Cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, left base, runway 24, cable traffic.
What do you think it would take us, a month to get there?
Yeah, probably.
Tell you, man, this thing flies like a 2-hour student pilot.
Yep. Cable traffic, black and white Air Coupe, turning final. Runway 24, cable traffic. Alright, a little high. About right there.
On my third and final time around, I felt like I had a better approach, but my excitement and comfort was definitely waning.
Okay, carbeat's gone cold for a go around in case.
Good. Where I would drop the, never mind, I'm not going to tell you how to correct for a crosswind because we can't.
Right here's where I was having the worst time. I just felt helpless. The airplane's drifting, and you're just waiting to make ground contact, and you just can't do anything with your feet to make those fine-tune adjustments that you want to make.
Down and drive it. That's the weirdest thing. We're going to go ahead and make this one a full stop taxi back.
Yes, we are.
Because isn't that freaking uncomfortable? You're sitting there and everything tells you, hey, I'm going to do this, but then the airplane starts to float and you don't want it to touch down the weather vane. At least my limited experience, yeah, there's just nothing comfortable about it. I think this is one of those airplanes you either are a fan of it or you're not. There's no in between.
You know what? Instead of a taxi back, I think we're just going to stop right here and take a breath.
Right?
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's
yeah, let's have a powwow about this.
Yeah, because it's funny. I think I'm getting less comfortable the more I fly.
That's exactly my thought. We're going to stop right here. We're going to have a conversation about what just happened. My Lord.
None of that made me comfortable. None of that made me like, and you know, and I was getting into my head because it's like the other day, it's like, well, these other people were taking it up cold and they would take it out for a loop, and it looks like they were, like, I couldn't tell if they were genuinely scared or if they were just having fun for the camera or whatever.
No, they were genuinely scared.
They were genuinely scared, and
because all three of them, like, Jenny pulled it off. She's like, yeah, you know, you can see she's just trying to be like, yeah, that wasn't a big deal. But I know her long enough. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to admit to you guys that sucked. You know?
Well, and I think I was still high from like the excitement of just doing it for the first time and being in an Air Coupe for the first time.
Right.
But I think once that wears off, you're right. Like, I'm more scared of this airplane today than I was the first day.
Yeah, it's making me less and less comfortable.
Yeah, you have, I don't know how many thousands of hours. I have, you know, low hundreds. So if I've got the guy next to me who has a couple thousand hours at least, and he's not comfortable, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, I've got somewhere 7,000 hours worth of tail wheel flying behind me.
There you go.
So I know that that's fighting me. You know, I've flown a couple hundred different types of airplanes. And this one, it's kind of annoying me right now how uncomfortable this airplane's making me.
Everything that's happening in this, I feel like I'm not in control. And it feels like the airplane is ahead of me, and I don't like that, so this is the call I'm making officially. I will not be flying this thing solo. And I have no problem making that proclamation.
I really want to fly this on a smooth day just to see what it should fly like on a smooth day.
And I mean,
every time I go take it out, it's bumpy and choppy, and the nose is wandering around.
Well, and for perspective, it's not like if this was an Archer, or even if we were in like the 170, I'd feel pretty comfortable.
Oh, I'd pull the Stearman out right now and go fly it.
Absolutely.
Like, there's nothing about this day is that bad.
No.
It's just...
No, it's just like, we got low to the ground, the wind picks you up, your instinct is to apply rudder to try to counter the yaw. This thing, what you end up doing is dipping the wing into the ground.
Yeah.
Like and I saw your face, and even me, I'm just like, well, I don't know what the hell to do, because it's like, this is all I've got. Yeah, I mean, look, interesting experiment. Would not do it solo, would not feel comfortable. No, I mean, I'm making a call for like where I'm at. I'm like, yeah, that would be an incredibly dumb thing for me to do.
Yeah. Why are we going to do it? Just because? I mean...
Well, yeah, exactly. And
the only difference between flying it with me in the airplane and flying it by yourself is the airplane's going to climb more. It's going to climb quicker. Yeah. And it's gonna float a little bit longer.
But it's not going to get any more controllable.
No. Again, there's nothing wrong with the airplane. Everything that I'm experiencing is nothing to do with the airplane. It's all to do with me.
Yeah, I think you either love it or you don't love it so much. And again, if you didn't know any better, I think you'd actually feel more comfortable. Feels like I was, somebody without legs. They do nothing for you.
All of a sudden, the torque and the P factor take control as we make that go around. We already had a left crosswind, and it was a pretty pronounced swing to the left. And I just keep saying, I mean, maybe it's I've just done too much dual instruction for folks, but it really flies like a brand new student pilot. The airplane does.
Yeah. So there's a small part of me that's like, oh, okay, it's really neat to kind of touch in this personal family history. And there was a small part of me that was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I got to solo it, just to have that footage? And now I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like, I got to sit in the right seat. I got to sit in the left seat. I'm okay. 2
takeaways on this airplane personally from where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
If it was the only airplane, the only way I had access to flying, I would do it. And I would fall in love with it.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
My second takeaway is I really want to fly one that's got rudder pedals on it.
That would be a good follow-up episode for us. We can find one that has the rudder kit just to see, like, okay, how much better does it make it?
Personally, I think that would make it so this was an airplane that I really liked. So thank you for enjoying this experience with me.
Yeah, man.
Or not enjoying this experience with me.
Well, you know what? If I had to be scared shitless, I'd rather it be with you. So
it's all right, and it's always good, like, because when I see somebody else being scared, like I'm being scared at that moment, I just have to muster up the courage to not look that scared.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do that in this.
Yeah.
I was starting to feel a little worried.
I was starting to feel a little spooked. Especially we weren't getting, when we had the crazier winds the other day, we were actually getting better climb out of it because we had a hell of a headwind. And today, not so much. We were getting maybe 200 feet a minute. And I was like,
we're getting a downdraft on departure. And we're getting slammed on crosswind.
And I was looking at those power lines coming up. I was like, I don't like it.
Don't worry, you'll have the power line nightmare tonight. Do I go over or do I go under?
I guess we'll catch you guys next time on Altitude and Airspeed, or Airspeed and Altitude. Thanks for joining us on Airspeed and Altitude. We'll see you next time.
Hope you're enjoying the channel. Tune in for other episodes. We've got more coming. Be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. See you next time.